Hey, Charles for the win here. I'm continuing to compare the Harry Potter books to the movies, and now we're going on to the third Harry Potter, The Prisoner of Alcatraz. My bad. The Prisoner of Azkaban. Prisoner of Alcatraz is not a real thing. Me and my friends, or my cousins, I should say, made a spoof. We're spoofing the Harry Potter movies, and that's what we call the third one. I can't believe I got them mixed up. That's hilarious. Anyways, I do think they did say that Alcatraz. I think Azkaban is based on Alcatraz, anyways. So this one I think is a lot worse. It's one of the worst based on the book. So hopefully there's going to be a lot more to talk about. The main one of the big things is just a lot has changed. They just changed what everything looks like. They had a new director, and I think that's one of the main reasons. But like Hogwarts looks a little bit different. Hagrid's hut looks different. Just I think everything is placed slightly differently. They kind of changed the whole mood of it. They changed people's makeup and hairstyles and stuff. Like Malfoy looks completely different. Uh, who else? Yeah, Flitwick went from like the gray hair to now dark hair. So yeah, she's getting younger. Professor Flitwick is getting younger. That makes perfect sense. Um, and just weird things like that that don't need to be changed at all. I think the fat lady got a change in what do you call it? Actresses. They changed her casting, and then obviously there's a new Dumbledore, which they can't do anything about to be fair because the old guy died. And that sucks. It's like, well, yeah, what are you gonna do? You cast a really old actor in a movie, and you're hoping to do 8 movies or 7 or 8 movies, and I don't think he's going to be around for all of them. Yeah, eventually. Yeah, I think they knew that eventually they're going to have to get a new Dumbledore. But I don't think the newer one's any worse. It's just so much that's changed and it looks different. Oh, I remember one of the big things that I didn't like about this one is they're often wearing Muggle clothes, and it's stupid. I hate when they do this in Harry Potter. They do this for most of the movies except for the first two, and that's one of the things I really like about the first two. Is they're wearing their robes, they're wearing their Hogwarts uniforms that they haven't been established to wear for the entire books. That's what they're supposed to wear. The only time Harry doesn't wear his wizarding clothing is when he's with his aunt and uncle. Otherwise, they wear robes. They wear they wear wizard clothing. They don't wear Muggle clothing. They don't wear hoodies and jeans and stuff. But in this one, this is one of the ones where it's like, oh, we're not in class now, so we're gonna wear Muggle clothes. That makes sense. No, it doesn't. It doesn't because they're not American Muggles. They're British wizards. So that I always find really fun. Yeah, and then now this is the Prisoner of Azkaban. I got it right that time. And um, it's the thing is, it's about the Prisoner of Azkaban. And one of the big questions that we hear early on in the movie is, how did he get out of Azkaban? And then they're like, that's the thing. No one's ever done it before. But do we ever find out? No, we don't in the movie. No one knows. They don't say. I think they might even ask him, and he's like, "Wow, that's a very good question, but I'm not going to tell you." And just they don't explain things very well in this one. That's one of them. In the book, they do explain it. It's very cool. I think it's very interesting. So Sirius Black, as we know, is an Animagus and can change into a dog. So the Dementors cannot see very well. They don't see at all. They just sense souls. Now they have trouble sensing the souls of animals. So Sirius changing to a dog, they can barely tell he's there at all. So at one point he was able to get out as a dog because they just have the Dementors guarding Azkaban. And yeah, I don't know why they didn't say that because it was pretty cool, pretty damn cool. Um, so yeah, here's another thing that I don't like about this movie. They they have Hogsmeade. Hogsmeade, I think, is somewhat important to this. There is some major plot points that happen at Hogsmeade, and so basically, when a wizard is now the third year, they can go to Hogsmeade, which is this nice little town where they can buy candy and other wizarding stuff. But you need parental consent, and since Harry is not does not have parents, he did not get his permission form signed, and he's all sad and not allowed to go. They mention this a few times in the movie, and they show Harry being sad that he's not allowed to go because he doesn't have parents. It's so sad. It's very. But then I could be wrong in this, but I'm pretty sure that they don't follow up on that. It's just like, oh, he's sad and doesn't get to go to Hogsmeade, and then it's like, oh, wizarding stuff. There's a werewolf and gotta save Buckbeak, and then the movie's over the end. And yeah. But in the book, if I remember correctly, eventually he gets Sirius, who is his godfather, to sign the permission for him, and he does get to go to Hogsmeade. Yay! Everyone's happy now. But they don't really follow up on that, other than Harry gets the Marauder's map, which leads me to my next problem with the movie is the Marauder's map. I think that's how you pronounce it. I really don't know, but it's really cool. It shows where everyone is on the map, and it's like, oh, that's really cool. I wonder where that's from. We got it from Fred and George. They found it in what's his face, Filch, in Filch's office one time. Thing is, they don't explain it further than that and we know that Lupin and Sirius have some connection to it. They don't elaborate on it. Now, Professor Lupin, Sirius Black, Peter Pettigrew, and James Potter, Harry's father, all created the map together, and that's really awesome. And they don't really. That's just one of the things they leave out, and it sucks. It's like these are really cool details. I don't know why these were left out. Yeah, and another thing that's I think they didn't. They just didn't. I just think they didn't do a good job of explaining. They did say Prong created by Padfoot, Prongs, Wormtail, and I forget the other one, Moody, which are nicknames of James Potter and his friends, Harry's dad and his friends. And basically, that's all we get. So if you're a fan of the book, you know, okay, so they don't really say, because that's the thing, is I think Harry Potter is one of those series that does a really good job of how you don't really need to read the books, you can just watch the movies. And for the most part, you can, but for this one, there's a lot in the book that they don't have. And it's just kind of disappointing because there's some really cool stuff they left out. And it's not like they ran out of time, because there's a lot of stuff they put in that is completely unnecessary. Like, there's one scene where where Harry, Ron, and Seamus and Dean are all eating some stuff, and it makes them sound like animals, and it's like cool magic stuff that's completely pointless and isn't in the book and does nothing and just wastes time. Things like that I just find really annoying when they're put in place of, well, what feels like in place of plot points that are significant. Yeah, another thing I think they don't do a good job explaining is that Harry's dad and there's Remus, Lupin, Sirius Black, and Peter Pettigrew and James Potter. They all can change into an animal of some sort. Remus Lupin is a werewolf, and then Pettigrew, James Potter, and Sirius Black all find out a way to. They discover or create a spell to change them into animals. They become animagus, unregistered, of course. Otherwise, they would have been able to find people would have found them out, and then that's kind of like the whole thing is they were causing trouble being and that was one of the cool things they could do. And they don't really elaborate on that in the book, like in the movie. I mean, like I don't think they even say that Harry's dad can turn into a stag at all, and it's important because here Harry does the Patronus, which ends up being representing his dad and his parents, represented by the stag, which they do show eventually. Not really. That's the here's another thing I have a problem with. So the time travel stuff. I think they did a good job with the time travel stuff. Now, one second, but here's the thing. So this is more nitpicky, but still. So when the first time around, Harry sees what he thinks is his father because it's a stag, and it's Patronus, and it gets rid of all the Dementors. But then, when he goes back in time, he realizes it was himself. But when you see the Harry who went back in time to do the Patronus, it doesn't show the stag at all, and there's no reason why. It's just poor special effects or writing or whatever. Whoever decided, we don't need to put the stag that time because it'll just be lights Patronus. It's dumb. It's just dumb, and I think it's one of the. It just doesn't make sense, and it's just poorly put together. Now, one of the things I think they did a really good job with is the time travel. They did a good job of establishing how time travel works in Harry Potter with the time turner. They don't really like. There's more stuff. Like if you watch the movie more carefully, you notice they mention, "Wait a minute, where's Hermione? Oh, there she. Oh, hi Hermione, I didn't see you there," kind of thing. And it's like, oh, she went back in time. But it's more subtle. It's really like something's up with Hermione in the book. She's taking like 8 classes at the same time. How does that even happen? And yeah. But in eventually they eventually in the yeah, they go back in time, and it's done really well in the movie. I think they show that what they have done by going back to time has already affected themselves in the past. They're not changing the future at all. They're just setting it to how it is, which is kind of confusing. But I think the way they did it makes sense, sort of. Because in the book, I think it's a little bit not done that well. Because if I remember correctly, they did actually save Buckbeak, because that's the one thing they're trying to save Buckbeak and Sirius, so they go back in time. So they did actually save Buckbeak the first time, or no, they didn't the first time and he died, and then the second time they did save him, and everything's good because it doesn't mention the choppy of his head, and I think that was really well put together because it makes you go see what you did there. That's very clever because in the movie you just see the axe go up and then everyone's like, oh no, he's dead, but you don't see it hit a butt. They just see the axe and chop. But you see what it actually chops is a pumpkin, and the executioner guy was just disappointed didn't get to chop anything, so he chopped up a pumpkin. And it's really well done because you're like, oh, so that's why we saw the axe, but we didn't see it chop Buckbeak because it didn't even chop Buckbeak. It's just really well thought out. And also, like Hermione throws a rock at Harry, and then Harry's and like earlier, Harry go, "Ow, I got hit by a rock," and then it shows Hermione do that for the sole purpose of because that's what happened, and then that's what happens later is Harry gets saved by himself, and then he realizes, wait, that's not my dad, that's me. I have to save myself right now. So he does it. He does it the Patronus, and I think that's another thing that's really well done. Another thing that's kind of weird is with the werewolf. It's not too bad because as soon as Remus turns into a werewolf, everyone's like freaking out. It's like whoa, whoa, and stuff, and it's a lot. It's very exciting, and then Hermione does her werewolf thing to just get him away. But I guess she realized it too. That's what happened, and in case we did hear that earlier, and it's just another one of those things. It's like, oh, okay, so that's why that happened earlier, and it's just really cool. It's really cool to see, I think, and they did a really good job with that. But yeah, even just the werewolf thing is really quick in the book. They're just kind of like, oh no, he's a werewolf. Oh, he got away. Peter Parker is gone now. What do we do? The end. And but it's yeah, you have to make things more exciting in the movie. Obviously, if it's a visual, it's gonna be more exciting just because that's what you have to do. And I think that was well done. But yeah, so the time travel, well done, and just like explaining things they didn't do a very good job of. And it's just like, well, yeah, thanks for not explaining that because other than that, it's really good. They did a very good job with time travel, like I said. And other than that, I think that's it. Wow, this one was way longer than I thought it was going to be. And thanks for watching. I'm going to do the rest of the Harry Potters hopefully, and comment if you have any other movies that you want me to talk about the book form and stuff. Goodbye.